Welcome back to course Artificial Intelligence. Our today's topic of video is searching techniques. So the searching techniques in artificial intelligence are classified majorly into two categories. One is a uninformed search techniques and second one is a informed search technique. First of all, we try to understand what is uninformed search technique, and then we are going to discuss about informed search technique. But very first we try to understand what is the difference between uninformed search technique and informed search technique. So uninformed search technique means what? It's a searching without the knowledge, without the domain specific knowledge. The searching which is performed without domain specific knowledge is called as a uninformed search technique, whereas in case of informed search technique, what you can say, it's a searching with a domain specific knowledge. So simple thing is there. Just I will give simple example to illustrate a difference between uninformed search technique and informed search technique. Okay, now you want to go, means you are present at your home and you want to go to particular location. That means you want to travel to a particular location. So in that case, either you can apply uninformed search technique or you can apply informed search technique. So what difference you will observe? In case of uninformed search technique, what I told you, that it's a searching without a domain specific knowledge, means without taking the help. Suppose I need to travel from my home to let's say railway station. So in order to move from home to railway station, n number of paths are available. Okay, n number of routes are available. So in case of uninformed search technique, I will explore each and everything. Okay, I will explore each and every path that is available from my home to that particular railway station. I will not take any kind of help, but I am doing this. So in uninformed search technique, I have not referred anything. Okay, so in that case, I am visiting all the possible routes. I am using all possible routes to reach up to that particular location. Okay, so in case of uninformed search technique, there is a guarantee that you will get a optimal solution, because you are exploring all the possible way to reach from your home to that particular railway station. So in uninformed search technique, it is 100% sure that you will get a optimal solution, but it is not the case in case of a informed search technique. In case of informed search technique, what I will do, it's a searching with a domain specific knowledge. Now how you will get a knowledge, how domain specific knowledge here you can apply, or how assistance you will get. In that case, you may use Google Map. Okay, in order to reach from your home to that railway station. In case of uninformed search technique, I have not taken any kind of help, but in case of informed search technique, I will take a help of Google Map. Okay, I will take a help of a Google Map to reach from your home to that particular railway station. So in that case, what we say, in case of informed search technique, there may be possibility that you will get optimal solution, but there may not be optimal solution. No matter, we trust on Google Map that Google Map will find the shortest path. But just I'm giving the example, which in order to just illustrate the difference between uninformed search technique and informed search technique, I'm just giving example. Don't consider that Google Map will never find the shortest path. Google Map always helps to find the shortest path from one source to destination, but I'm just to explain the difference between this, I'm giving this example. Means my intention is to tell you that in case of uninformed search technique, we are not taking the help of any particular guide. We are exploring by its own. We are exploring all the possibilities. But in case of informed search technique, we are not exploring all the possibility, but we are just taking the help of particular guide. Let's say in this case, we are going to take the help of Google Map. Sometime it may happen that Google Map is not working properly, or there is an issue in that algorithm that they have used. So in that case, there may be the case that you are not getting the optimal path. Okay, you are not getting the optimal path. Sometimes there may be the case that Google Map is considering a particular route, and in that route, that particular route is not working, some work is going on. So in that case, what may happen, you need to again come back to previous position, and then you have to find the another path. So this thing is also happening. Okay, this is a real-time situation that may happen. So in case of informed search technique, you are going to make use of a heuristics. Heuristics means what? It's a kind of guess. It's a kind of guess that you are making. You are trying to get means from your home to that railway station, how much amount of distance will be there, what are the possible routes are there, okay, how much will be the distance, means you have some idea. But in case of uninformed search technique, you are blindly following the different paths. That's why uninformed search technique is also called as a blind search, because blindly you are going in particular direction and then just you are exploring. But uninformed search technique is a time consuming task, whereas informed search technique is not that much time consuming. But in case of uninformed search technique, it is guaranteed that you are getting the optimal solution. But in case of informed search technique, there may be guarantee, but there may not also be the guarantee that you will get a optimal search technique. Now in the today's video, we are focusing on uninformed search technique, or you can say that blind search technique. Okay, so in case of uninformed search technique or blind search technique, we have two options available with us. One is a breadth first search technique and second one is a depth first search technique. So might be the case that you already gone through these concepts in the data structure about depth first search technique and breadth first search technique. So these are called as a uninformed search technique. Why they are called as a uninformed search technique? Because it does not exploit domain specific knowledge. Okay, and we can also say that it's a blind search technique, because blindly you are following particular path without any knowledge. So it has two things, breadth first search and depth first search. Now let's discuss the outline of any search algorithm. Okay, what is the outline for search algorithm? Because in this case we need to understand the concept theoretically with example, and also we need to understand algorithm. And I want to tell you that in order to prepare this, I am referring the book of Rich and Knight. So here I discuss the algorithm from Rich and Knight book. Okay, so there may be the case that different author or different person will refer different books. So here I'm just want to tell you that I am referring the Rich and Knight book, Rich and Knight book of artificial intelligence. So I have taken this algorithm from that book only. Okay, so very first we try to understand what is the outline of a search algorithm. So here first of all what we need to do, we have to initialize set open equals to s. This open is a list, just we considered open is one of the list and it consists of a number of states, because we need to move from your initial state to the goal state, and in that case you have a number of intermediate states. So first of all we have to initialize one list called as a open, which consists of a number of states. So in that case you have initial state also, you can have also goal state also. Then in step 2, if open is empty, if the list open is empty, that means you have to terminate with failure. If no state is available in your list, then what you will explore? Okay, so in that case your search is going to end. Then step number 3, select n state n from open. See, open is a list, that list consists of a number of states and you have to select one of the state from that particular list. This is your step number 3. Then step number 4, terminate if n equals to g. N means what? It's a state that we are selecting from list open, and if n equals to g, g means what? Goal state. Once you reach to the goal state, your task is finished. That's why this condition is given in step number 4, that if n equals to g, then you have to terminate with a success. Then step number 5, expand, generate the successor of n and insert into open. If we consider, if we have selected one state from this open list, then what next we have to do? We have to generate the successor. We have to generate the successor from that n, and then we have to insert it into that list open, and then you have to go to step 2. That means this procedure is continuously followed. That means step 2 to step 6 is continuously repeated unless and until you will reach to the goal state, or all states from your open list gets completed, or no state is left in the open list, unless and until you will just go to that loop only. So this is what a outline of a basic search algorithm. Based on this we have DFS and BFS. Now let's try to understand BFS, breadth first search. Means in this case we are going to expand all the nodes at one level first. Okay, here we have BFS also, we also have DFS, but in case of BFS, breadth first search, it is observed that you will explore all the nodes present at one level. So in that case you can say that it's a level search technique. Level search technique is what? It search all the nodes present at one level, then it go to the next level. Just like here, first of all we consider root node, then all the nodes present at level 1 are visited, then all the nodes present at next level should be visited. So this is how your breadth first search works, and breadth first search will make use of data structure called as a queue. These are some important points that you have to understand about the breadth first search. Breadth first search will visit all the nodes which is present at one level, and later on it will visit all the nodes present at the next level. So here root node is expanded first, then all the successor of that root are expanded. Here this is a root node, so all these three successor are expanded. Later on their successor, for this only one successor is there, so this suppose this one is also there, then this one also get visited. So this is what the one level of BFS, this is two level of BFS. So I hope you understand how that BFS work, what is the main intention or behind the breadth first search algorithm. Okay, now let's take a algorithm. I told you that this algorithm I have taken from Richer Knight book. Okay, so maybe simplified version of this algorithm is available, but I have taken this algorithm from the Richer Knight book. So here what is given: create a variable called node list and set it to initial state. Okay, here we need to consider one list, and we have to set it to some initial state. Then until a goal state is found, node list is empty too. Means what is our terminating condition? Either we reach to goal state or all the states we have visited but we have not found the solution. So this is what our terminating condition. That means your node list is empty. Remove the first element from the list and call it as a E. We have to select one node from the list and name it as a E. If node list was empty, then quit. Already we have seen here, it's a terminating condition. For each way that each rule can match state described in eDo. That means what we'll do, apply the rule to generate a new state. We have taken one state. Okay, we have taken one state from that list and name it as a E. Then what we'll do, we'll generate a new state. That means we'll consider all the successor of that particular node or state that we have selected. If the new state is a goal state, then we have to quit and return to this state. Otherwise what we'll do, add the new state to the list. Okay, initially we have considered the list. So this is how breadth first search algorithms, and it is based on this search algorithm. Means try to correlate the thing. In this case what we have initially we have considered one list, then we are considering terminating condition, then we are saying that we are selecting one state from that list. Then if that state which we have selected is a goal state, then we have to terminate. Otherwise what we have to do, we have to expand this and we have to find the successor of given state which we have selected, and we have to check that whether it's a goal state or not. Suppose it is not a goal state, again you have to add all the successor to the list so that it will consider later on. Okay, so this is how breadth first search works. Now let's take an example to understand this. Okay, don't worry, I'll just explain this. I'll go with example also. This is what one of the graph that you consider. So in order to understand this, either you consider tree as well as graph, but here I consider graph. So as you know that BFS will make use of a queue, and how queue works, first in first out. In case of a queue, you will add all the element from front and take out the element from rear. So very first thing, what you have to do in the queue, which node is considered first? 1. You have considered 1. Okay, after that what you need to do, you need to consider all the successor of 1. What are all the successor of 1? 2, 3, 4. So what I have done, I have inserted 2, then I have inserted 3, then I have inserted 4. That means I am visiting node 1, I am checking that whether it's a goal state or not. Suppose it's not a goal state, then I need to consider the successor of 1. So 2, 3, 4 are the successor of 1. So for that purpose what I have done, I have added 2 first, then 3, and then 4. After that what you need to consider, whether 2, 3 or 4. Obviously 2, because first in first out. 2 is inserted first into queue, that's why we have to take out it as a first. After 1 you need to visit 2, you have to consider 2. Okay, you are considering 2, you just take out the 2. Then you need to consider what are the successors of 2. But before this we need to check whether 2 is a goal state. No, 2 is not a goal state. So next thing is what, I need to consider the successor. So what are the successors of this 2? 3 is already present in the list, but next is 6, so I have inserted 6 into that queue. Okay, after this what is the next element that we have to consider? 3. Okay, then we have to consider 3. Again we have to check whether it's a goal state. No, it's not a goal state. So we need to consider the successor of this. One successor 4 is already present, so we need to insert 5 into our queue. So what we have done, we have inserted 5. After 3 what is next? 4. We need to consider 4, whether any successor is there. No, 4 is not a goal state and there is no successor, so we have just taken the 4. Then what we have left? 6 and 5. Then we consider 6 over here, but there is no successor for 6, so we have left it as it is. Then we consider 5, and 5, whether it's a goal state. No, but what is the successor of 7? Sorry, what is successor of 5? 7. So we have considered 7, so we have inserted 7 over here, and 7 is what, our goal state. So in this way we reach up to the goal state from the initial state, and this is how breadth first search algorithm works. Now see here, if you don't consider this general strategies that all the successor present at one level should be visited. What is the successor of 1? 2, 3, 4, which is present at this level, they are visited first. 2, 3, 4 visited, later on 6 is visited, then 5 is visited, and then 7 is visited. So in this way this breadth first search works. Now next uninformed search technique is a depth first search. But before this we just discuss the benefit. What are the benefits of breadth first search? If there is a solution, then BFS is guaranteed to find it. Why is it so? Because in case of BFS, we are visiting each and every node present in the graph or tree that we consider. Then we will not get trapped exploring blindly, because we are not going only in the one direction, but we are going in every direction. That's why we can't say that we will not get trapped, because in case of DFS you may get trapped in one direction, because in case of DFS you will move to in only one direction first. Okay, that's why we are discussing this benefit of BFS, that you will not get trapped exploring blindly, because you are not following only one direction. Then if there are multiple solutions, then minimal solution will be found. Initially I told you that what is the specialty of uninformed search technique, that you are guaranteed to get an optimal solution as compared to the informed search technique. Okay, so this is all about breadth first search. Now next thing that we considered is a depth first search. So how depth first search is different, means the searching the way of searching is different in a depth first search. In case of breadth first search, we have seen we are considering all the nodes present at one level, but in case of depth first search we are not doing like this. But what we'll do in depth first search, we will move to one direction first, means expand one of the node at the deepest level. Means after this we are not considering all these three, but after this we consider this, and then we go to one. That means we are expanding one node at the deepest level. We are following one direction, we are exploring all the nodes which is present in single direction, and then we change our direction. This is what the main difference between depth first search and the breadth first search. Now let's try to understand the algorithm. Okay, if the initial state is a goal state, then you have to quit and return the success. That there is a possibility that whatever the state that you have selected, it can be a goal state. Otherwise do the following. What you have to do, until success or failure is signaled, you have to generate the successor of initial state, whatever the initial state that you have considered. For this you need to generate the successor. If there are no more successor, then signal the failure. Okay, if success is written, signal success, otherwise continue in the loop. That means you are continuously generating the successor, and you have to continue this unless and until you will find the solution. Don't get confused. If you not understand algorithm, we try to understand with example. Okay, example is the best way to understand any kind of algorithm. But I think you already understand the basic concept behind depth first search and breadth first search. Okay, So same graph we consider over here. Now in case of depth first search, you know that breadth first search will make use of data structure called as a queue, whereas depth first search will make use of a data structure stack. Queue works on the phenomena of first in first out, whereas depth first search is works on the phenomena of last in first out. Okay, last in first out. Okay, so in case of DFS we are making use of a stack. So in the DFS, what we'll do, first of all we'll visit 1. Okay, first of all we have visit 1, then we'll visit 2, then we have visited 2. After that we'll visit 6 because we are moving in the one direction first. Okay, after 6 what we'll do, again we will come back, then we consider or visit 3. After 3 we'll visit 5, and after that 4, and then finally we'll visit the 7. So this is how we got the final state 7. But in this case we have used which strategy? We have used depth first search. In the previous case we have followed the breadth first search. In case of breadth first search we have visited 1, 2, 3, 4 like this, but in case of depth first search we visited a node in the sequence 1, 2, 6, 3, 5, 4 and 7 like this. Okay, like this we have visited all the nodes over here. That is in case of a depth first search. Now let's try to understand what are the benefits of depth first search. It requires less memory. Okay, obviously the thing is that in case of breadth first search you are visiting all the nodes at one level, so in that case the scope is very wide, so in that case you require more memory. In that case you require more memory, but in case of depth first search you are moving only in a one direction, so in that sense we are saying that it required less memory. It may find a solution without examining much of the search space. This is what a case, because you are moving in a one direction, because in this case there is a possibility that if you are moving in this direction and you get a solution, so there may be possibility or there may not be any possibility. But in case of breadth first search you are exploring all these things. Okay, this is what the difference between breadth first search and depth first search. So these are the benefits of depth first search. So I hope you understand what is uninformed search technique, and there are two techniques are there. One is a depth first search and breadth first search. So finally I'll summarize the thing that we have learned in this video. We understand that in order to search, two types of techniques are there. One is a uninformed search technique and second one is a informed search technique. Uninformed search technique will not make use of any domain specific knowledge, whereas informed search technique make use of a domain specific knowledge. There are two types of techniques involved in uninformed category. One is a depth first search and second one is a breadth first search. Each one have its own benefits and drawbacks. BFS will make use of a data structure queue, whereas DFS will make use of a data structure stack. So this is how we discuss uninformed search technique, which does not require any kind of domain specific knowledge. So that's why we call it as it's a search without information. Okay, so I hope you understand each and everything. So in the next video we discuss about informed search techniques and different algorithm. Thank you.